Welcome, everybody. This is a fantastic webinar organized by Diversity Collective Lanka, DCLK for short, on personal agility, celebrate and choosing your life. Let's move on to the next slide. Just a quick brief introduction to Diversity Collective before we go on to the next slide. It's very simple. Diversity Collective is there to really enable, empower women in the tech and services industry. Our goal is to enable them through the fastest growing industry in Sri Lanka and thereby also help grow Sri Lanka. If we go on to the next slide. We actually do this through 4 pillars to advance, connect, and empower and enable women. From a school's perspective, we obviously work with the children to help them understand what the industry is from a higher education, help prepare them for a great career for women in tech in the industry, help them understand and maneuver it, and also enable entrepreneurs. Let me now move on to introducing our guest, Janani. So Janani I've actually known for quite some time. She's Miss Agile Extraordinaire, as I like to call it. She's an experienced enterprise Agile coach, safe program consultant, Scrum ambassador, trainer and personal agility life coach. Coaching and training is not only her profession, but it's her passion. So I think that's the beautiful thing here, that you're able to do something that she's passionate about. She serves as people and organizations to discover their purpose and tune up to their best performance. She has inspired more than 1,000 Agile aspirants from Asia, US, and Europe over the last few years alone. As an enterprise Agile coach, she supports leaders in designing an Agile ecosystem in the organizations. So company culture, strategy, and process can live in harmony with Agile values and principles to achieve the business agility. Today, she serves as a coach for several large-scale Agile transformations from telecom, banking, and healthcare industries, across these industries. She has been serving as a jury member to World's Agility Forum. I didn't know that existed until I met Janani for the last 2 years. She volunteers for schools, universities, humanitarian groups, and Toastmaster clubs to better achieve their goals using Agile ways of working. She is recognized as a global goodwill ambassador for these initiatives. Janani, it's a pleasure to have you. And I'm looking forward to this session, and over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Chinti, and thank you so much, DCLK, for inviting me. It's a great pleasure to have this conversation, this session with you all. And welcome to the Personal Agility webinar. First of all, we really appreciate for being part with us, because your momentum to learn, transform, and share, that's why you are with us with this webinar series. So let's get started. I'm going to share something, a gift of personal agility, which we all deserve. So this is a universally useful framework. You could be a leader, you could be a professional, you could be a working mother, anyone. This is a universally useful framework, regardless your role, title, career, or industry. So this is for you if you seek more control in your life and do things that matters most to you. And also you need harmony in the whirlwind of work-life commitments, which we all need, and to pause and pause the hamster wheel, and to reflect and celebrate what you have achieved in your life, and also to grow continuously towards the broader purpose of your life. That's why I mentioned this is a universally useful framework for anyone and everyone. So before I move on the personal agility, because it's a deep topic, we are going to have only a sneak peek around what is personal agility. But let me first start with what is agility. What is agility means to you actually? If I give you the definition, the agility is not only about the speed, that's very important. Agility is to be the ability to do things faster, and same time change your direction when it is required. It's not about the speed. It is speed plus your ability to change the direction when it is required. So personal agility is how are you going to apply in your life, right? So as I mentioned, this is a transformation for your life. So let's start with your life. This is about you. So let's do a quick self-reflection about your life. For this, you need a pen and a paper. Let's take around 1 minute if you don't have it's around you. So just take a pen and paper and let's get started with the activity. Let's take 1 minute for you to get prepared. Right. Okay. So I'm going to ask you 6 questions and you're going to write answers on your own. And this is only for you. Okay. The first question that I'm asking is, what are the top 3 tasks you spend most of your time these days? If you ask me, I would say I spend most of the time these days on delivering workshops, helping my son with his online work, like that. So take 2 minutes and write down top 3 tasks that you spend most of your time these days. Okay, so the second question is, what are you thinking about these days? Are you usually thinking about past? Are you always dwelling in the past, or you are enjoying the present moment, or you are too much anxious about the future? So write down, take just 1 minute and write down what are you thinking about these days, mainly on past, future, or present. Right. The next question is, what is the most predominant emotion you project these days? For example, oh, I feel exhausted these days. Oh, I feel fantastic. I feel awesome. I'm super excited these days. Well, nothing not bad, just boring. What is the predominant emotion that you project these days? Let's take 1 minute. Right. So we are moving to the fourth question, which is very important. What are the top three goals you want to achieve within next 2 to 3 years? Let's take 2 minutes. That will need some time. So think about, what do I really, really want to achieve in next 2 to 3 years? Okay. Right. So here comes the crucial question. Now you wrote three goals that you want to achieve. I want to know what makes those goals valuable or meaningful for you. Take an example. Suppose I need to improve or practice meditation in my life, right? In the next 2 to 3 years, I really want to improve on meditation or yoga, right? So, but why it is important to me? Why it is meaningful for me? Maybe I care about my health. Maybe I care about my spiritual journey. Or I want to write a book on personal agility. Why it is meaningful for me? Because I need to help people to grow. Take a 1 minute, write down those why you care about it. What are those values that you really care about? Let's take 1 minute. Right. So we are moving to the last question. Now think, now you are retired, you are age of 65 or 60 and retired, comfortably seated in a couch and watch raining. So as you gaze at the raining, your mind slowly slithers to those beautiful memories, which gives you a very comfortable, cozy feeling, more warm or satisfaction. What kind of those memories that you will really come across in this kind of situation? So end of the day, what really matters based on these memories? End of the day, what really matters to you? Let's take 2 minutes and see your answers. Okay. So these are the 6 questions that I wanted to ask from you. What we just did now was a simple but deep reflection of your own life. Now, I invite you to have a look at the answers that you have provided. Even after this webinar, maybe in a weekend, take some time for yourself and really see and reflect on these questions and the answers. For example, based on the answer for question 2, are you usually living in the past, future, or present these days? And why? Ask yourself why. And based on the answer for question 3, that is your emotions, are you usually feeling fantastic these days or feel exhausted? Why do you project those emotions that way? Ask yourself. And very importantly, based on the answers for Q1, question 1 and question 4, that is, in the question 1 we asked, what are the top 3 tasks you spend most of your time these days? And on the other hand, on the question 4, we asked, what are your top 3 goals? So ask yourself, are you spending enough time or spending wisely your time towards your goals? For example, if you are planning to launch a book in next year, today you must be spending most of your time in writing your first chapter of the book, isn't it? Ask yourself, are you spending your time wisely on your goals? And then, based on the answer for question 5, what you really value in your life. It could be the peaceful, it could be your relationships, it could be your health. Ask yourself, do these goals that you wrote down, are they really helping to live your values? You must ask this from yourself. And finally, based on the last question, what really matters? What really matters end of the day, right? And asked when you got the answers like, okay, what really matters to me, just think about it, whether these goals, whether these desires, these passions are really helping you to achieve what really matters to you. And when you answer these questions, when you look at these answers, if you feel somewhere something need to change, maybe you don't know what is the change, that's okay, but somewhere something need to change, personal agility can really help you. Okay, because all of us, everyone have this challenge. So much work, so little time. And anyone who doesn't have this problem, I love to hear from you. I'm sure being human beings, we all have this challenge, right? Because we have these desires, purpose, the great vision, and all these goals to achieve. But one excuse that we always say is so much work, so little time, isn't it? So when we have this so much work, so little time syndrome, we go for time management. Like we, at end of the day, time management get overloaded because we have the phones, we have the reminders, the to-do list and sticky notes and everything. And we think, okay, we need to manage time. We need to manage time because I need more and more time to do work. Then let me ask you a question. Suppose the earth slows down and give you 26 hours, which means you are going to get extra 2 hours. What would you do actually? Could anyone answer me? What would you do if you get extra 2 hours? Anyone like to answer? Well, most of the time the answer that I get in certain workshops, I want to sleep if I get extra 2 hours. Anyone relating to that answer?
Oh, Barney said that.
Wow.
Barney wants to sleep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it is very important that we are always asking for more and more time, but do we have really clarity what you want to do if you have extra hours? Because I'm sure most of us, not all of us, but most of us got some time from the time we spent in roads, right? Because of the pandemic situation, we are all at home. We saved that time. So were you able to spend that time effectively? Right, so did we have clarity? If I have extra 2 hours, how am I going to spend it? Because time is precious, right? So, and the next question that I want to ask, can the time be managed? And I know I'm as a consultant coach, we always talk about in the project management, the time management, one of the core areas in project management. Well, I know it's a bit of controversial, but can the time be managed? Because it's a universal phenomena. It's very smart and it's on its own. And it gives a day for everyone. Can we really manage time also something else? Think about it, okay? Because I feel, this is my personal view and the beliefs of personal agility, is that it's not about managing your time, it's about managing our priorities. It's not about managing time, it's about managing our priorities. Because time is on its own, what we can do is have clarity on what really matters to us and managing our own priorities. So practice this from today onwards, right? So do this and say, today onwards, if you are going to miss a deadline, or if you already missed a deadline, don't say, I didn't have time or I don't have time. Don't pass the responsibility to the time. Instead, say something different, say something meaningful. Yes, I'm going to miss deadline or I missed the deadline because I was focused on this over this activity or these tasks. I choose to work on this goal over this goal. Now see the feeling. Instead of passing the responsibility to someone else like time, now you are taking responsibility for you, right? So practice this. I know it's difficult. Even I say sometimes I don't have time, but you feel great about you when you start practicing. So don't say I don't have time. Everyone gets the 24 hours, but say I choose to do this work or I choose to do this goal over this one. I focused on this. So it's you. Little by little, when you start practicing this, you will start feeling that uh, the need of taking control on your life. So practice this and see how do you feel about it. So if you want to, if you believe in that it's not about time, managing time, it's about managing your priorities, personal agility is a great companion, a simple visual framework for you to organize yourself and help you to figure out and focus what really matters to you. I will not go through in the detail on everything about the personal agility. As I mentioned, it's a sneak peek on personal agility. It's a simple framework for you to grow as a more responsible, more accountable person, awaken your inner leadership, as well as it works as a coaching framework. It also works as a coaching framework so you can coach your teams to achieve what really matters to them. It also improves the alignment, alignment with your team and your stakeholders. Okay. And what kind of change that you will experience when you start practicing personal agility, not for a day, not for a week, but when you start practicing for a couple of weeks, you will start feeling the real transformation from the busy, exhausted life to smart, meaningful life. Okay. So as I mentioned, I give you some few tips on how to achieve personal agility, which is very much related to my life and many people who benefited from personal agility globally, right? First thing is clarity on what really matters. What does that mean? Now, we mentioned like, okay, you have to manage your priorities. The moment we remember the priorities, what we do is we take a to-do list and start writing our uh, priorities. Okay, but now we get even more stressed because everything looks like a priority. Everything we need to do. Now, that's not going to work that way. First of all, you need to have clarity on what really matters to you. Because think about if you're trying to do all these things at the same time, what's going to happen? What's going to happen is you can try it now itself. Start opening about 20 pages in your laptop or start opening about 10 applications in your mobile phone. What's going to happen?
It'll crash.
Yeah,
You'll
it will
get
crash.
confused.
Exactly. It get confused and crashed and get stuck basically, right? Now, usually those days in our CVs, we write multitasking, super efficient professionals, right? But now in modern world, we know the multitasking is a top productivity killer. Now that doesn't mean that you can't cook while answering the phone. That's not what I'm talking about here. What am I talking is that If there are goals that needs your uninterrupted attention, focus on doing few things at a time. And that also doesn't mean that you can't achieve multiple goals. Definitely, you should do that. But personal agility tell you how do you take an incremental and iterative approach to achieve your goals by having, first of all, clarity on what really matters. Now, the biggest shift happened for me after using personal agility is I had earlier I only had a to-do list. Now I have a not to-do list. So that's the biggest shift that I have. And then hold on to purpose. Sometimes we give away very soon, right? So personal agility have tools and conversations and a coaching framework which helps you to hold on to purpose. And second is be conscious on what is important and urgent. Now that's very important. Sometimes our week, our day is washed away with only urgent things. Sometimes we always compromise important things. So it's life. Life gets screwed up. We can't change that always, right? But you have to be conscious on what is important to me, what is urgent to me, and how do I trade off that. And the last thing is very important. Celebrate and choose your life. What does that mean? If you want to pace, if you want to pace up in your life, first pause. If you want to pace up, first pause. Take a small breaks in frequent intervals and reflect. Be happy about what you have achieved. Appreciate. Regardless, anyone appreciate you. Appreciate. You have to have self-love, the self-pride. That yeah, you're doing great, Janani. You achieved so many things in this week, and that's great. Be grateful for you and help grateful to people who helped you, and then choose your next move in your life, right? So these four things, these 4 points are so much important in to achieve personal agility. And the whole personal agility framework and these workshops we have is around how to achieve these things in your life as well as in your team and your in your organization. As I mentioned, it has the two parts. One is on personal growth, the other side is the growth of your team and your organization, right? So anyone have any questions until now before I move on?
Maybe not a question, Janani, but Bani has basically said she finds it that if she stops procrastinating, that she really has a lot more time on her hands. I don't know whether you have anything to reflect on that.
Come again, Chinti, on the question.
No, not so much a question, Janani, but more of an approach, I guess. Bani says on the chat, says that if she finds that she stops procrastinating,
Yeah.
that she really has a lot more time on the hands.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Right now, how in personal agility what you achieve is right. So as I mentioned, is a visual framework, right? So in the visual framework, you will list down what really matters to you. For example, suppose let me quickly show that. Let me go a couple of slides and show you. Now, this is a screenshot of my personal agility map, right? We call it priorities map. So I have changed certain items because it's something personal, but you see that I have what really matters to me is my spiritual journey, my physical health, and there's a list of things. And I have given a color code for this, right? And I will put, okay, this week, what I want to achieve. And I put a color code on this based on my career goals. This is based on my health goals like that. Now the thing is that this simple visual tool helps you to see, oh my God, I'm saying that my spiritual goal is so much important to me, but I had never done anything about it this week, right? As I mentioned, life gets screwed up. You miss your workouts, you eat junk food, you have sleepless night. But thing is that, are you conscious about it? So then it helps you to really transform. Okay, you know that you are compromising your important goals over urgent things, right? For example, you see I have urgent columns, right? I had to pay credit card bills and I had to pay all these utility bills and I had to go to school for certain things, right? Which is urgent, never planned, or I have a funeral. But if I'm aware, if I'm conscious about, okay, this week got washed away with these urgent things, then you can come back to, come back to the central position and say, reflect, okay, because I told this celebrate and choose, which is something that I do every week, maybe Sunday night or Monday morning, mostly in Sunday night, right? I reflect how I spend my week. what really matters to me, how did I spend things on what really matters to me. So that really, the procrastination is there in life, but what happens is you first of all be aware, you create a self awareness that there's a problem, which helps you to get out of it.
Janani, there's a
So
question from Barney.
yes.
So it says, Janani, what made you realize that you need to make this change in your life?
Of course, of course. Let me share my story. I didn't know these days when I had this realization. It was the personal agility, but it was about 8 years ago. I was a very successful software developer. In terms of career, it's very secure job and very lucrative job with the nice salary and all these things. And I felt I'm a very technically oriented person about 8 years ago. And I loved, well, the word bites is I like doing coding and all these things, right? So I remember that I was preparing for my next promotion and I was working so hard towards my promotion and I felt exhausted. Well, I thought it's natural because we're in front of the computer for so long. That's why, right? So, but what had the something what happened is when I feel exhausted, I used to go to Toastmaster clubs. So it has after working hours we had the Toastmaster club, and I used to enjoy a lot because I don't feel tired at all, right? So when I was at the Toastmaster club, so I was asking myself, oh my God, you said that you feel tired, but what are you doing here? You are spending until 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in Toastmasters club, delivering speeches, helping people to build their communication skills and all these things. What are you doing? And I was not sure what am I doing until one of the great mentor asked me this question. uh, she asked me, Jana, you seem to be enjoying a lot in Toastmasters. I said, yeah, I just love it. And he asked me, do you love your job? And I said, I was not quite sure what she was asking. And I said, I like my job. No, no, Jana, I'm asking, do you love your job? I said, maybe. Okay, then I said, let me ask the question in a different way. Would you love your job as much as you enjoy in Toastmasters? I said, maybe not. I had to be uh, I had to be honest. Because then I said, what change? Then the question that she asked was, what change you need to happen for you to enjoy and love the job same as you enjoy in Toastmasters? So I said, yes, I like my job a lot, but I feel that doesn't define me. I feel if I can spend more time around fixing the questions and fixing the problems of people rather than defects and bugs, I would enjoy the same way. That was my first step for the biggest transformation in my life, to understand what really matters to me. I started feeling a coach is that defines me, while I have many other skills, many other hobbies and likes and all these things. But what defines me is a coach. So I'm really grateful for my mentor for asking this question. So then I start understanding, okay, I don't want to fill my life with too many things which simply create noise but really don't uh, take me to the edge of what my purpose. So I think it was 8 years ago. I felt like I need to focus on what really matters to me, because I'm one of the person who wrote my own job description as an agile coach. Because when I take the challenge of becoming an agile coach, there were very few agile coaches, and also one of the very rare person who have the profession, passion, and purpose is same. So that is how I realized I wanted this change.
Brilliant, Janani. That's a very inspiring story, and I'm sure it will inspire many others on this call, as well as who will watch this live, as well as later through YouTube. A statement also from Rangana or Rangana.
Mhm.
They say that time boxing is also a great method to keep focused.
Of
Would you
course.
agree?
Yes, we agree, because this, if you look at this personal agility, is not the same as the you. I mean, since he asked about the she or asked about this time boxing, there are other frameworks like Scrum, right? In software world, this is based on the foundation of time boxing. So in personal agility also we have a week, as week is my time boxing, right? So that's why we do celebrate and choose in every week. So you plan your week on Sunday night or Monday morning, and then you reflect on what really happened, what really matters, were you getting closer to who you want to become in the next Sunday. So I believe time boxing is very important.
Here's another interesting question. The importance of personal agility during a pandemic. I think the pandemic question always comes up. So, any thoughts on that, Janani, to reflect on that a little bit?
Yes, very much. So that's, I think I already have answer for this. Now, in difficult times, the nature gives this answer, right? In difficult times, trees shred their leaves to conserve energy, right? And the water and the energy. So if you want to be anti-fragile, what does it mean to be anti-fragile? Means that you don't become a victim of the change, but you become more of the owner of the catalyzer on the change. So like trees, if you really want to be anti-fragile and thrive during the difficult situations, you really need to have clarity on what really matters to you. I think we learned that super fast in the pandemic situation. How many things that we think we needed, we can't live without, we were able to get away during the pandemic situation and focus on our family and our health, isn't it? In the pandemic situation is a great example for that, right? Because personal agility is about starting with the self-awareness, what really matters to you. I'm sure the pandemic situation itself we were able to give up so many things, right, in the pandemic situation. So yeah, I really believe in it.
Brilliant. Guys, Janani, do we have any more slides that you'd like to cover?
Yeah. So another one. So I'm going to talk about a little bit on the personal agility, the practitioner workshop that we have. Now, I told this is not just a concept; it's a framework, it's an approach, it's a technique. So we have a personal agility recognized practitioner. Now, this particular course is coming from the Personal Agility Institute. The founder is Peter Stevens and Maria Martorelli from US. And so I have been working quite closely with them because Peter Stevens is my mentor as well. So I was working closely with him since he started inventing this framework. So I had these nice stories of how he started feeling about his life, when he wanted to become having more control, and it was the invention for his own life, which became a universal framework now. So we have this certification. More than a certification, we call it a recognition. That's why we call it personal agility, a recognized practitioner. Because certification is that you can, you attend a training, then you answer certain questions in an exam and you get a certificate. But this is a transformation of your own life. So what we have is a different way of training method is applied here, because you attend a training, 8 hours of training, plus you after the training you have coaching sessions. We help you to get started with the personal agility journey, and we do multiple rounds of coaching, coach the coach also, right? So because that's why you could have different scenarios. Sometimes you could be a working mom, sometimes you could be a leader finding more alignment with your stakeholders, or you could be an entrepreneur thinking around how am I get my ideas to the market faster, or you could be a student, right? So that's, we want to have that, diversity, as well as helping you to understand agility in your life and how you get started practicing. So 8 hours of training and 4 to 5 hours of coaching, and then only we will recognize you as a personal agility practitioner, because at the end you have at least started your journey as a personal agility practitioner. So we have this first workshop on 17th, and I'm super excited that is already sold out, but we will have it in mostly every month. So you can contact me. I will share my LinkedIn and all these things in the chat window, or even you can reach out to me on mail. So that is an important milestone in our personality journey, as well as there is a certification path. You start with recognized enthusiast. That is, you don't have to attend a workshop, but you're keen about personal agility. You read the book, right? You read the online book, and you want to learn more and we have a coaching call, how would you already practice this? I'm sure sometimes these concepts, without being called as personality, you must be already practicing. So we want to recognize these things. So it's the personal agility enthusiast. Second is the practitioner, the workshop that I mentioned. Third is the personal agility recognized ambassador. If you're already a professional coach with coaching credentials, we recognize you as a personal agility ambassador, recognized ambassador, because you are helping people to apply in their life using coaching, using professional coaching. And you also spread the word about the personal agility. So that's a certification path. But what we have today, yes.
Yeah, no, Janani, there have a couple of questions that have come in.
Yeah.
Two questions. So do you think agility is important for resilience?
Yes, it is important because, I mean, as I mentioned, right, now again, I'll come back to my example. I was talking about badminton. I love playing badminton, right? So, especially it's very important. The resilience is so much important in badminton because it's not only about moving around the court and, being fast. It's all about not to fall down, or when you fall down, how quickly you can restore your energy and get back to the sport, right? So personal agility is so much important for you to live a more resilient life. Because that's why I mentioned the celebrate and choose. The concept of celebrate and choose is very useful if you want to be resilient. Now again, come to back to the badminton example. You know, people who play badminton, it says you always come to the central position. Why is that? Right? You have to move around, but you always come to the central position because you should be able to ready for any outcome. So that's why the beauty of personal agility, you reflect your life, you restore your energy every week so you can respond and adapt to any outcome, which is for me the resilience.
Thank you, Janani. The next question is a very interesting one. Obviously personal agility is very personal, it's very individual basis. But if you want to drive this as a culture of an organization, do you have methods to do it?
Yes,
And an approach to doing
yes,
it?
yes. So that's
And
why
what are the benefits of it? And
okay.
what are the benefits of it? It's a
Yeah, I
three-part
think,
question.
okay. So first of all, as I mentioned, personal agility has two aspects. One is to your own personal transformation, your personal growth. The other is about how you create alignment with your team and with your stakeholders. So if you look at in the workshop point of view, in the first part, we talk about how do you apply personal agility to your life. The second aspect is about how would you apply personal agility with your team and stakeholders. Now, I'm sure most of us are working professional. Now, the one of the biggest problem is that when we have a group of people, how would you understand the shared goal and shared purpose? How would you create an alignment on what really matters? You must be starting a project, or you must be starting a particular initiative. Can we have alignment on what really matters to you? How would you align stakeholders with different needs to a common vision? Now that is where, and there's a question asked, okay, what are the tools they have in personal agility? We have a simple tool called stakeholder canvas. It's a simple tool for you to ask some powerful questions from your stakeholders or from your team, right, on what really matters to you. What are your mission? What are your goals? What are your pains? What are the hidden fears to achieve your goals? So the stakeholder canvas is a very simple tool, but it's very powerful in terms of creating alignment. So that is where I feel that personal agility helping teams and organization aspect.
Thank you, Janani. Attendees, I think you guys are asking some really great questions.
Yes.
So feel free to send me personally or even type it in here where I can go to everybody so that all of the participants can see your questions as well. Any other questions at this moment? doesn't appear to, we don't appear to have any more questions, Jana. We can keep moving.
Yeah, yeah. So I may not take you through each and every aspect of why you need this kind of certification, but I want to emphasize one thing. Why would your employer would be interested for you to having this personal agility practitioner certification? Because it's the path. I personally feel, because I'm going through this journey myself, it's a path to awaken your self leadership, personal accountability, and then ultimately self organizing teams. Now, in modern organizations, we can't have one manager saying everything, okay, why you need to do something, what you need to do something, and how you need to do that. We don't want to have that kind of a culture. But we always talk about, whether it's in agile or even non-agile organization, we talk about we need to have self-organizing teams who can respond and adapt to situations. But if you think about what is the source of self-organization? What does it mean to be self-organized? If you want to have self-organized teams, first of all, you need to have clarity on your purpose as an individual. You need to awaken your self-leadership. We need to have leaders in the teams, right? More aligned leaders in the team, not leaders on their own directions, but we need to have more aligned leaders inside a team. That is where you begin the self-organization. So I was having a discussion with one of the HR heads recently on the importance of personal agility on onboarding. So my thoughts were around, okay, if you can create that self leadership and then the personal accountability, rather than going from this blaming, complaining culture, like I didn't have that, I didn't have time, I didn't have this, I didn't have that thing. Instead of that, if you focus more on the problem and the solution rather than what you don't have, rather than complaints, if you can awaken that self leadership, that is the source for the self organized teams. And very importantly, if you want to project agility, because I mean, agile is not a word that you don't know now, because agile is it's universal. It's not only a technical skill; it's a life skill now. Being agile. So, if you want to transform your teams into agile, and then the best way is that you model the agility in your life and in as a person, as an employer or employee. So I think that's why this personal agility becomes crucial to any person, to your life as well as your career. So those are the benefits of this kind of workshops.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Janani, are we good to start wrapping up?
Yeah, so let me quickly show the personal agility, some frameworks and some workshops that we do. As I mentioned, it's useful for anyone. It could be for you could be a student, undergraduate, entrepreneur, leader, working professional. The personal agility could help you for anyone. And also, I want to share I'm working very closely with the founder of the personal agility, which is Peter Stevens, and we are very excited that we are going to have our first workshop in Sri Lanka starting from Monday. So you can look forward for the case studies from Sri Lanka as well, and we already have some case studies. Uh, this is a great, a student now, not anymore student. He's already passed out. So this is a student how it helped him to achieve his educational goals as well as career goals using personal agility. His name is Tuan, and he will be very soon speaking in our Facebook Live session in the Personal Agility Sri Lanka chapter. And it could help entrepreneurs, it could help coaches or CEOs as well in achieving their goals and creating alignment with the stakeholders and the organization. So you can reach out to me for more details. We're just starting with this journey. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or Facebook for more details, and
Or
I will
through
look forward to
DCLK?
help. Or through DCSK. Yes, yes. So,
All right.
Chinti,
Thank you so much, Janani. That was very informative and very engaging. I did my my 6 questions as well. I think I need to make some adjustments there. So looking forward to that. And you know, our motto is we have to be the change you want to see, right? So I think it applies to this session. as well as what we are doing here with DCLK. We do offer quite a few trainings from a diversity collective perspective to organizations. Here's 5 of them, and there's more. Personal agility by Janani being one of them. As mentioned, you can reach out to us at any time on diversitycollectivelk@gmail.com. Again, it's diversitycollectivelk@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to put you in touch with any one of these trainers. Janani, if you can go to the next slide. We're also happy if you would join us. We be involved, become a member, become a subscriber to these sessions. We are looking for volunteers always to participate and join us in various initiatives that we do for schools, universities, etc. And obviously, if you'd like to sponsor any of these events, if you're representing an organization and you'd like to provide sponsorship and get your brand out there aligned to these gender diversity initiatives, we're happy to accommodate that as well. With that, I would really like to thank Janani for a fantastic session and great participation by all of you as well. Some great questions coming in, and we will end this session. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining.
And I want to thank Chinti and DCLK, the whole team, for inviting me. And this is not the first time I'm working with DCLK, and I love to be part of these initiatives. And I really appreciate the timely and meaningful initiatives that you are doing. So really appreciate it.
Thank you, Janani. It's wonderful to have had you on this session. Thank you, and we look forward to many more to come. Have a great evening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.